Sarah writes Trump demands full recovery of stolen assets linked to Alice Madueke. If you now write to Trump, people don't even want to allow Trump to start first. Let them inaugurate him first before people start writing him. You started writing him already. Wetin happen? Demands full recovery of stolen assets linked to Alice Madueke. And when they release it, what is going to happen to the money? What is going to happen to the assets? People are going to sit down on it, Abi, and share it amongst yourselves. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) has charged the United States President-elect Donald Trump to ensure full recovery and return of stolen assets and public funds linked to former Minister of Petroleum Resources Deziani Alice Madueke. SERAP made the charge in a letter written to the re-elected U.S. President by his Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare. According to a statement issued on Sunday, SERAP in the letter dated 18th of January 2025, urged Trump to promptly identify U.S.-based proceeds of corruption traced to former and current Nigerian public officials and their associates and to ensure the full recovery and return of any of such stolen assets to Nigeria. And then when it gets to Nigeria, is it going to get to the masses? No. It is still some politicians that are going to share the money, so I don't understand though. At least people should allow Trump to rest first. There are some important things that he will do in his own state before he listens to other people's country. He has a job to do in his own country as well. People should let him rest, Biko. The request followed the recently returned $52.88 million in forfeited corruption proceeds linked to former Petroleum Resources Minister. This woman, she's not in prison now. This woman like this, she's working freely. See the amount of money that she stole. EFCC will not go after her and arrest her and make sure that she's in jail. She's cooling off in jail right now. But no. You're now writing Trump to return all the money that she stole. The organization, however, held that Alice Madueke's listed assets and other recently returned assets represent a tiny fraction of over $500 billion that have been reportedly stolen from Nigeria and located in the U.S. and or otherwise subject to U.S. jurisdiction. SERAP expressed that any return of proceeds of corruption from Nigeria must meet strict transparency and accountability standards to ensure the funds are used solely for the benefit of Nigerian people. All the Abacha loot, where is it today? All the Abacha loot that was returned back to Nigeria, where is it? We are still borrowing. We are still borrowing money. We are still suffering. There's still hunger. No fuel. No lights. Nothing. All the Abacha loot, where is it? So they should return this one now. We will not know how it will disappear again. The money will just go with the wind. It urged Trump, who will be sworn in tomorrow, to direct the U.S. Department of Justice to promptly initiate civil asset forfeiture proceedings against proceeds of corruption traced to former and current Nigerian public officials and their associates. This, according to the humanitarian group, will be in fulfillment of several non-controversial commitments by the U.S. to assist Nigeria in asset recovery matters. I'm sure Trump is going to do that, but people should calm down for him. Let him settle himself first as the president. This, according to the humanitarian group, will be in fulfillment of several non-controversial commitments by the U.S. to assist Nigeria in asset recovery matter. In the same vein, SERAP also called for the identity and published the names of former and current Nigerian public officials suspected to be responsible for corruption and the depositing of his proceeds in the U.S. banks. If they give you the names, what are you going to do? What are people going to do? We're not going to still allow them to be working freely. People will not arrest them now. What will people do? They tell you the names. It also demanded the application of existing U.S. presidential proclamations to temporarily ban such officials from entering the U.S. SERAP said, our requests are brought in the public interest and in keeping with the requirements of the UN Convention against corruption to which both the U.S. and Nigeria are state parties. According to SERAP, proceeds of corruption from Nigeria continue to be deposited in U.S. banks or in other locations subject to U.S. jurisdiction. The letter reads in part, we hope you and your incoming government address the legal impediments that have continued to allow corrupt Nigerian government officials to deposit and conceal their ill-gotten assets in the U.S. and other locations subject to U.S. jurisdiction. Returning proceeds of corruption to Nigeria is a development imperative. By returning proceeds of corruption to Nigeria, the U.S. will be contributing to the efforts to address the growing poverty in the country and achieve the sustainable development goals. I don't trust that people are going to use the money for sustainable development growth. I don't think people are going to do anything with that money. People will share this money amongst themselves. Even when the loot comes, I'm sure you are going to tell us that, it has been returned, but at the end of the day, we will not go hear anything again. We will not go hear anything again. So I don't really trust that they should return it to government officials back, because it is still the same government officials that are stealing this money. The US has the obligation under the relevant provisions of the UN Convention Against Corruption to trace, freeze and seize proceeds of corruption from Nigeria and located in the US or otherwise subject to US jurisdiction, and to return the assets to the Nigerian people. A whole chapter of the convention is devoted to international cooperation in the recovery and return of stolen assets, including from Nigeria Chapter 5 comprising 9 articles. SIAP is concerned that corruption remains a major obstacle to sustainable development, the rule of law, and the effective enjoyment of socio-economic rights in Nigeria. Implementing the recommended measures would contribute to addressing these governance challenges. Corrupt practices have long been accepted as a fact of life and an inalienable part of the country's ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs, and the governmental power structures across several states. Nigeria's Auditor General Office annually documents widespread and systemic corruption in ministries, departments, and agencies, NDAs, including in the petroleum, education, health, and water sectors, plunging millions of Nigeria further into poverty. The Auditor General has declared trillions of naira as missing or diverted. Can you imagine? SIAP urges you to promptly share information with relevant Nigerian civil society organizations on stolen assets of Nigerian origin located in the US or otherwise subject to US jurisdiction, as required by Article 46, Subsection 4 and 56 of the UN Convention Against Corruption. Imposing a temporary travel ban on former and current Nigerian public officials suspected to be responsible for keeping proceeds of corruption in the US or in locations subject to US jurisdiction would not violate due process and presumption of innocence principles, as long as the reason for the sanctions are communicated to those that may be affected. Now so, according to reports, the US government and the federal government of Nigeria recently announced an agreement to promptly repatriate approximately $52.88 million in forfeited corruption proceeds. I'm not saying they should not return it, but when they return it, what's going to happen? Are they going to share it the same way they've been sharing it before? The Abacha loot, they share it, it didn't get to Nigerians. There's so much suffering in the country, and yet they will say we don't have money. Meanwhile, these people are stealing money and going scot-free with it. Can you imagine? God will help us. My listeners, over to you. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.